So you all probably know that when you're out to eat with your friends, it's probably best to grab a salad instead of a burger, right? But do you know why that is?
Why?
Do you know why a salad is healthier than a burger? Do you know why certain diets are better than others? A diet is basically what you, like the food plan that you follow and what you eat. So today, I'm going to be talking about the different types of diets and why there's one diet that's better than all of the others. The diet that I'm going to be talking about today is the Mediterranean diet. And what I'll be speaking about is why you should follow it. So I'm going to talk about different diets today. And I'm going to let you guys decide which one you think is the best, and then I'm going to explain why one is better than all of the others. So the first diet is one that we're all probably pretty familiar with, and it's the one that I follow. It's the one that all of you probably follow, and that's the omnivore diet. The omnivore diet includes meat and animal products, so you can eat meat, plants, anything. The pros of this diet are that because it's so diverse, you can get an adequate amount of minerals and vitamins, but the cons are an increase in wasted resources, an increase in pollution, and increased health risks. When it comes to these health risks, nutritionfacts.org says, omnivores may have higher rates of cancer, diabetes, and heart disease than vegans and vegetarians. An omnivorous diet also appears to increase the risk of abdominal fat, higher BMI, obesity, unhealthy stools, and accelerated aging. Next slide, please. The next diet that I'll be talking about is one that's also probably pretty familiar to most people, but it's one that most people don't actually follow because you can't follow it for a long amount of time. And that diet is the carnivore diet. The carnivore diet only includes meat. You actually can't eat plants. So the pros of this diet, obviously, are if you're trying to get big and shredded and swole, you have a high amount of protein and minerals like iron, zinc, and B vitamins. The cons of this diet, however, are that it lacks vitamins and minerals like vitamin C, boron, vitamin E, antioxidants, and fiber, and it cannot be followed for a long amount of time. And the reason for this is because you lack all these vitamins and minerals, there are certain illnesses that will come along. Like, as you'll probably see, when you're lacking in vitamin C, common illness is scurvy, which is what the pirates got when they were on the ships. Pirates would get scurvy after long amounts of time of only eating meat and bread because they didn't have any fruit, and most of them died because of it. Everydayhealth.com says, judging by what science has determined about the nutrients necessary for human health, it's more likely that people who try a meat-only diet for an extended period will end up like the singer James Blunt, who revealed that he had developed scurvy after attempting a carnivore diet. Next slide, please. The next slide is one that you're all probably still pretty familiar with, and that's veganism. Veganism is actually like kind of a set of ideals. It's kind of like a set of, it's like its own mindset. It's not only just a diet. There are vegans that not only just follow the diet, but they follow an entire lifestyle. Veganism usually includes, excluding meat and animal products. Vegans they don't want to see animals as commodities. They don't want to see them as just a source of food. They want to protect the animals. So usually some vegans are so intense that they'll only, they won't wear wool, and they won't wear animal product clothing. They won't do things that hurt animals in the long run. All of that, they will not do it. The vegan diet stems from veganism, which is what I just talked about. The pros of this diet is that because of, you're not eating as much meat, you have a decreased risk of heart disease. The cons, which I found a good website that talks about it, WebMD says, a meatless diet can be healthy, but vegetarians, especially vegans, need to make sure that they're getting enough vitamin B12, calcium, iron, and zinc. And the reason it says especially vegans is because vegetarians can still eat a little bit of animal products, like dairy and all that sorts of things. But vegans don't, because it is an animal product, and they don't want to take advantage of the animals. Yeah.
If they want to help the animals and all they eat is, plants and vegetables, animals also need plants and vegetables, so they're technically taking away their supply of food, but then thus hurting the animals on down the road.
I guess, yeah, but there's a lot more plants plants in this world than animals, so kind of, it's not really hurting them that much. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics warns of the risk of vitamin B12 deficiencies in vegetarians and vegans. Vitamin B12 is found naturally only in animal products. A lack of vitamin B12 has shown to lead to anemia, blindness, muscle weakness, tingling, and numbness. Vegans also have a significant lack of protein within their diet. As explained by WeberNutrition.com, quote, vegans therefore need more protein as the protein quality of the diet is lower compared to vegetarian and meat eaters because they don't eat any animal products at all. Even when you only eat certain ones, like some vegetarians will eat eggs, some of them will be allowed to drink milk, but most of them, they'll eat some animal products, but vegans don't at all. It's only plants. Next slide, please. Next is keto. Keto is pretty interesting because it's not really, there's a lot of science behind keto. It's not exactly just, a straight up diet. Well, it is. Keto includes limiting carbohydrates and increasing your fat intake so that you burn fat for calories instead of, your carbohydrates. And when this happens, you have generally an accelerated amount of fat burning ability, and your body creates ketones, which kind of take the place of gluten in the bloodstream, and they just go in the blood and they give you the energy that you need. The pros for this obviously are that because you're eating so much fat and you're learning to burn fat more effectively, you'll lose fat. And it's also been shown to be good for those who are epileptic. Fun fact, for runners and weightlifters and bodybuilders, whenever they really need to lose weight, like right before a show, they will go on this diet a lot of times because it helps you burn fat so effectively. So when you're out from a bodybuilding show, you go on this diet for about 2 or 3 weeks before, well, maybe longer, but they'll go on it for a certain amount of time and it'll help them lose weight. The cons is that it's very hard to sustain because you're eating so much fat and you're very, very restricted when it comes to your diet. And it also has many deficiencies because you don't exactly get too many minerals just from eating fats all the time. It's also been shown to lead to heart problems, as you can probably guess, because of all the fat that you're eating. And it leads to kidney problems due to the overconsumption of fats. It leads to eating disorders because keto is so specific that you end up kind of obsessing over what you're eating and you end up kind of going too overboard, trying to keep track of all that you're taking in. Also leads to constipation due to a lack of fiber. Yeah, I know. NorthwesternMedicine.com says, because the keto diet is so restricted, you're not receiving the nutrients, vitamins, minerals, fibers, and all that you get from fresh fruits, legumes, vegetables, and whole grains, says Dr. Rain. Next slide, please. The next diet that I'll be talking about is vegetarian, which you're all probably pretty familiar with. This one is basically the same as veganism, but they're not as strict, and there's many different types of vegetarians. There's vegetarians that are allowed to eat eggs. There's vegetarians that drink milk. Like I said, there's vegetarians that do certain stuff, but mostly they all center around the idea of not eating meat. So it includes relatively the same mineral and vitamin deficiencies as veganism, because usually, other than vitamin B12 and some other stuff, if you drink milk and eat eggs and stuff, you will have the same things as vegans. Many different types of vegetarians, but they all center around the same idea. Plant-based diets have been shown to lead to those who practice them having a lower heart risk, because if you practice a meat-only diet or a meat-including diet, other than the one that I'll show you later, then it's been shown to have a higher increase in those that have heart risks and those that follow them. Next slide, please. The next diet I'll be talking about is the paleo diet. It's called the caveman diet, and it usually involves the consumption of whole and unprocessed foods because it's trying to emulate what our ancestors would eat in the Paleolithic age when they were hunters and gatherers. So anything that can be found in the farming industry or just any food industry at all, other than stuff that you could gather naturally, is not included. The pros is that there's a lot of healthy fats, high amount of protein, high potassium, and obviously a lack of processed foods because there isn't any at all. The cons are high food portions, you eat a bunch, lack of vitamins and minerals, and a very low amount of fiber. And it's definitely not healthy for those with heart diseases because you miss a lot of stuff that you need. Next slide, please. The next diet, now this is the cream of the crop. This is the best. This is the GOAT diet. The GOAT. I'm talking the GOAT. Mediterranean diet. This diet consists of foods found commonly around areas near the Mediterranean Sea, like France, Greece, Italy, Croatia. You can read the rest. The pros of this diet are that it's been found to help with heart disease and has very few mineral and vitamin deficiencies. The cons are that it allows alcohol. It's high, and it's very hard to follow because it costs so much, and it's relatively vague when it comes to its guidelines. It's kind of, if you follow it right, you'll get all the benefits, but if you follow it wrong, you're just doing an omnivore diet with extra steps. According to the Mayo Clinic, this diet includes plant-based foods such as whole grains, vegetables, legumes, fruits, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices. These are the foundation of the diet. Olive oil is the main source of added fat. Fish, seafood, dairy, and poultry are included in moderation. Red meat and sweets are eaten only occasionally. Next slide, please. Now I'll be talking about why the Mediterranean diet is the best diet to follow. And it's because it's been shown to be heart healthy, has a diverse mix of vitamins and minerals, and it does not cut out any huge food groups. Because you're not cutting out just straight up, you're not cutting out fats, you're not cutting out carbohydrates. You're getting all of what you need, but it's in a heart healthy way. This being said, it's very expensive, and most people can't follow it. So because of that, you need to follow a plant-based diet, which it's been shown that those who follow a plant-based diet have less risk of heart disease. And that's why you should follow the Mediterranean diet. Really quick, next slide please. I want to talk about my sources. My sources are nutritionfacts.org, everydayhealth.com, webmd.com, webernutrition.com, northwesternmedicine.com, and the Mayo Clinic. Thank you, everybody.